Welcome to the series that brings you the very best motoring stories from across the continent. In this show, Ziga Colja drives Lamborghini's most powerful Gallardo ever, the LP560-4. Frank Jacobs takes a day trip in the world's fastest motorhome. Portuguese motoring journalist Joaquim Oliveira reveals an all-new model from an all-new European brand, Infiniti. Plus, Jonny and I are on an economy drive across Spain, which doesn't go exactly to plan.
Oh no, we're being pulled over by the police.
This should be Lamborghini's ultimate Gallardo, the brand new 145,000 euro LP560-4. If it isn't the best one ever, then Lambo have got it seriously wrong. There's no need to worry on the outside. LED tail lights, enormous black wheels, quad exhaust and a Perspex engine cover will keep the show-off owner happy. But there's more to it than that. Where Lamborghinis have always looked bloated next to Ferraris, this one looks lean, angry and focused. They even copied the front bumper from an F430.
So, this new Gallardo certainly looks like the best one ever, but Lamborghinis aren't just for posing, they're for driving too. So that's exactly what I'll do and not stop until I found out whether or not they've got it right. The capacity of the engine has gone up from 5.0 to 5.2 liters, but it's not just a simple bore out of the old one. You see, the new car has a completely new block and crankshaft, as well as a new direct injection system. So unlike the old Gallardo, Audi RS6 owners can't claim to have the same engine.
And while Audi ownership has made this Lamborghini a more reliable and usable machine, it certainly hasn't dulled the V10 roar coming from behind my head.
Past 4,000 RPM, you get an incredible bassy bellow. It's like listening to a movie soundtrack through massive cinema speakers. It's here that the variable valve timing kicks in and throws you down the road. That noise isn't just some built-in sound effect, it's got substance. Not only is power up to 560 PS and torque up to 539 Newton meters, it's got a more even distribution of grunt, which makes it feel completely relentless.
As well as making it faster, Lamborghini have also managed to cut the emissions from 400 grams per kilometer of CO2 to 327, which is very clever of them. But that's not really the point of today's exercise.
And as I'm sitting in this car to find out if Lamborghini have made the best Gallardo ever, I will do it all in the racy Corsa mode, thanks to this button.
It's in Corsa mode that the LP560 will really show the benefits of its limited slip diff. A new E-gear gearbox with 120 millisecond changes.
You can feel the throttle, steering, chassis and gearbox tighten up and focus on the road ahead.
I could criticize the E-gear system for being too jerky, and I could moan about the unforgiving ride, but I won't. If it's too extreme, I could just put it back into normal or sport mode.
Through these corners it feels absolutely planted. Both ends feel like they have the same amount of grip, and it feels like a car you can trust not to bite. Even if you drive it like a Spanish holiday hire car, the LP560 won't set a foot wrong. The four-wheel drive system is biased towards the rear, with around 70% of power being sent to the back. This means you can do this and come out of it looking like a hero, not a fool. Okay, you might have to be on track to appreciate the extra 50 kilos of downforce and a lighter weight gearbox, but you easily appreciate the lower 0 to 100 km per hour of 3.7 seconds, and I have no doubt that this car will hit the top speed of 325 km per hour.
But I came here to answer one question.
Is this the best Gallardo ever? Well, I've driven for so long that I'm nearly out of gas, and that says it all.
It doesn't feel like it was designed by a big company with different departments for engine, chassis, interior and everything. It feels like the result of one man's passion. It's taken me a day to realize it, but what makes this the best Gallardo ever is this. Whereas the last one felt like it was designed by a German, this one feels Italian. A proper Lambo.
There's nothing like the excitement of a vacation. That time of the year when you escape the rat race, don the obligatory Hawaiian shirt and hopefully catch some sun. There's just one little problem. I'm very busy at the moment. I could actually get only one day of work, so there's my mission. I have to pack my whole summer holiday within the next 12 hours. And this is going to make my mission a whole lot easier. It's officially the world's fastest camper van. It's the Colorado RS and is built by the German company Carmanmobil. It's the only one of its kind in the world and it can do 191 kilometers an hour. Anyway, it's 7 AM and if I'm going to enjoy my day's vacation, I'd better get going. This started life as a regular Colorado 655, but it went through some really heavy modifications. The engine is a 2.5-liter turbo diesel that delivered originally 174 brake horsepower, but they tweaked the turbo and they went through the electronics and now you get 340 brake horsepower. That is as much as a Porsche 911 in a camper. I really like the sport seats in this car and they put them really low to the ground. They want to make you feel like in a sports car. The thing is though, that everything around you is a normal Volkswagen van. So the dashboard is high, the floor is high, which makes that you can't see anything around you, and my knees are almost near my ears. A few hours later, the Colorado and I had reached the beach. It was time to have my summer holiday. Completely refreshed, it was time to get back on the road again. And you know, this vehicle is not just about performance. They worked on the suspension too, the handling. The suspension is 70 millimeters lower than it used to be. And it's got massive 20-inch tires. Whoa, man, that suspension is really rough, really hard. It feels like you got stones instead of springs, but you need it because if you would do the Nürburgring with this thing, with normal suspension, you would definitely tip over. Oh my God, there goes my kitchen. There's the toilet. I was starting to feel hungry, but all I had to do was pull over and walk into the back of the world's fastest camper. One of the good features about this camper is that the sitting area is right behind the driver's seat, so you'll never be lonely on a long ride. Here in the back we find a lovely double bed, a wardrobe, and look at the size of the bathroom. There must be a jacuzzi in there. Well. But seeing as this motorhome is about speed, I don't want to spend too much time cooking. So, a lukewarm soup and I'm off again. If only the engine was as refined as the interior. You got all this power and it's really working, that engine. It is so noisy. I mean, the TDI is noisy from itself, but this thing, I mean, you can hear every horsepower working, rattling. If you call this a camper, this is a truck. Despite the noise, Carman should be proud of the RS. It's incredibly quick and demonstrates their tuning skills brilliantly. It might not give you a very comfortable holiday, but it will definitely give you an exciting one.
In part 2, our verdict on the brand new Infiniti, and Jonny and I trying to keep our feet off the gas for a change.
Details like these could belong to any German saloon. Swooping lines, broad shoulders, and classy chrome. So if I told you that this is the latest Audi A4 or BMW 3 Series, you probably wouldn't be surprised. But this car isn't a BMW or an Audi. It's not even German. It's an Infiniti.
You might not have heard of them, but they've been making cars for 20 years and have now come to Europe to try to take sales away from the big German players.
And they haven't just come with one car, they've come with all of these. SUVs, coupes, saloons, a whole range. Infiniti are owned by Nissan and have enjoyed massive success in America, winning customer satisfaction and magazine awards across the country. They're the halo to the Nissan brand, just like Lexus is to Toyota.
But we all know that popularity in America doesn't always mean success in Europe. So I'm going to take the bread and butter of the range, this G37 saloon, and tell you if you should buy it over a BMW, an Audi or Mercedes.
With the big three having had decades to refine their characters, the Infiniti immediately looks a bit faceless. It's not taut like a BMW or chunky like an Audi, just streamlined and inoffensive.
But how a car looks is personal, so I guess it's not fair to dwell on that.
What really matters in this segment is how the car feels on the road. This G37 saloon has a 3.7-litre V6 petrol derived from the Nissan 350Z. It's the only engine option at the moment, meaning its closest rival is a BMW 330i saloon.
It isn't the driving that I start to become impressed. In the 350Z, this V6 engine can feel a little lazy, although quite picky. Here, it feels very smooth and refined, and power builds very evenly, just like in the BMW.
Apparently, the Infiniti engineers spent a lot of time modifying the car's ECU to provide a progressive swell of power, and they've certainly got the balance right. With 320 PS and 360 Nm of torque, it will get to 100 kph in 5.8 seconds, which is better than the German car. Although you pay the price at the pumps.
Because this is a V6 petrol, the fuel economy is not impressive. In normal driving, you deserve a medal if you can get down to 10 liters per 100 kilometers. So be prepared to get 14, which is really hard to accept considering the massive 80-liter tank will last for less than 600 kilometers. Of course, it would be great to have a diesel engine in this car, but that will not happen until 2010. And that's going to put a real dent in European sales. A lot of cars these days don't have a lot of feeling in the steering, and this is the same. I don't expect feedback like in a Lotus, but it's tricky to know how much grip is left. It's not as good as a BMW, but perhaps not too far off the slightly duller Audi steering.
But the handling is more impressive. Because Infiniti is so popular in America, there was a risk the chassis would feel soft and limp. But fortunately, it's been tuned for our stiffer European tastes. And on top-spec models, like this G37S, you have active four-wheel steer, a limited slip diff and sports suspension, which make it feel extremely composed. So it's not an American-feeling car at all. And for its €41,000 price tag, you get a very high specification, including heated electric seats, adaptive xenon headlights, 18-inch wheels, reversing camera, and intelligent cruise control. But the Infiniti doesn't feel German either, it feels Japanese. And that's a real problem. Because BMW, Mercedes and Audi have been leading the market in Europe for so long, we all accept that they are right and everyone else is wrong. It's going to take a lot of effort to turn that way of thinking around.
Wherever you live in Europe, you will have noticed that fuel has become a very, very expensive commodity. So, to ease the pain, manufacturers have been bringing out these ultra-economical super diesels with an amazing range.
Yeah, we've had Ford's Econetics, we've had Peugeot's Blue Lions, Volkswagen's Blue Motions, even Skoda's Green Lines. And now there's another name to add to the list.
SEAT claim this 1.9 diesel will do an amazing 4.5 litres per 100 kilometres. With a tank capacity of 55 litres, the car has a theoretical range of 1,200 kilometres. But is this achievable in the real world?
To find out, we're driving to the party capital, Barcelona, which is conveniently a 1,200-kilometre round trip from here, Madrid.
Gonna go to Barcelona!
The Leon Ecomotive pulls several tricks to try and make itself more economical. For a start, it uses special tyres with a lower rolling resistance, and they're wrapped around steel wheels, which, surprisingly, are lighter than normal alloys. And that saving in weight has a very pleasing side effect. 0 to 100 kilometres an hour comes up in 10.9 seconds, 4/10 quicker than the standard car.
It's got different gearing, so it's got much higher 4th and 5th gear. But it's only a 5-speed box. But look, if I change up into 5th at this speed...
Oh my goodness.
That's low.
That's idle.
Big slugger gear for when you're actually doing 80 kph or more, I reckon. But it drops the revs right down, which is obviously good for economy.
It will also reach a top speed of 185 kilometres an hour. But as 90 is the most fuel-efficient speed, that's what I'll be sticking to. To assist this economy, I decided to apply a technique called pulse and glide.
Instead of just keeping a constant throttle, you find where your car is the rolling point, and you pulse, get up to speed, and then you back off and let it glide.
Oh yeah, I do that.
My pulsing and gliding was working well, until we hit traffic.
Sitting in traffic idling is the least economical
Should we
thing to
switch
do.
it off?
I suppose you could switch it off, yeah.
That gave us a chance to look around the car.
I don't mind it, you know. I thought it might feel different to drive.
What, like feel like you're driving a proper eco-mobile?
Yeah, like it's underpowered and it doesn't work, and you feel that it's been stripped out, and it certainly doesn't. It's got aircon, it's got CD player, it's got a dash.
Back on the open road, Tom's frugal right foot meant we were slowly clawing back our fuel economy, but it was going to be tight.
We've done 103 kilometres.
Yeah.
Right, and we have a range of 1,120 kilometres. So we've got 1,220 kilometres.
Seriously, is it that tight?
Yeah.
But running out of fuel soon became the least of our problems.
Whoa.
We became aware of the sound of sirens.
Was he leading us off? No, there's one behind us, mate.
Hey?
There's one behind us.
Oh,
You've just thrown some stuff at the guy behind us.
I've just thrown a sandwich at a policeman. I can't believe I just did that. I didn't.
What's happened is that Johnny has thrown a piece of sandwich out of the car and hit the following policeman on his motorbike with a piece of soggy sandwich. The policeman was hit in the face with the soggy sandwich and now is reasonably remonstrating with Johnny about littering.
I'm not pissed. I can't believe this is actually happening.
I can. If I was a policeman and someone threw a sandwich at me.
We decided not to let the incident get us down. As the kilometres ticked by, our economy steadily improved, and as we neared Barcelona, we had a remaining range of over 700 kilometres. With only 600 to go the next day, I was feeling extremely proud of myself, and we started to get into the party mood.
Let's go and do some salsa dancing. It's raining. It's horrible. For a party city, there doesn't seem to be anybody here.
No, I was going to say, we haven't seen one person since we've driven into Barcelona, so I can't help thinking that our quest is somewhat doomed. There's no one here.
Shall we just head back to our hotel?
Yeah, this is a bit weird.
The next morning, it was Johnny's turn behind the wheel. A responsibility he didn't seem to take very seriously.
Johnny's driving like a nutcase. He's not coasting. He's not using 5th gear, which, let's face it, is the best kind of gear. You've got the aircon on. You've had the stereo on really loud. You're braking heavily. You're making lots of steering manoeuvres.
This had a dramatic effect on our economy.
This has got 530 kilometres till it's dry, right? We've got 555 kilometres till we get to our destination in Madrid.
You left this morning with me having 750 kilometres on the ticket with only 620 to go. So you've lost us 120 kilometres in range. You're going to have to start driving economically, or we're not going to make it back.
I've slowed it down. I'm now doing 120.
Oh, joy!
We needed a different approach. Removing some extra weight would hopefully get our range back on track.
Slow down, do it properly.
Listen to you, you're almost pleading with me. 120, it's just too fast. Take it down to 90 like me. That whole conversation was done in fourth when I should have been in fifth.
You're an idiot.
He wouldn't listen, and unsurprisingly, we eventually had to stop for fuel. But in spite of Jonny's heavy right foot, we had still managed to cover 1,050 kilometres on a single tank, only 150 kilometres short of our target. Driven more gently, we would have easily made it to Madrid.
In the end, we still averaged 4.7 litres per 100 kilometres, meaning whichever way you drive this car, it's still incredibly economical.